UFC 303 was last night, and Alex Pereira defeated Yuri Prochazka for a second time. He is still the UFC light heavyweight champion, and we're going to be talking about that and the rest of the fights on this card. So let me know in the comments what bets you guys cashed. Hopefully you guys made a ton of money, and leave a like on the video, click subscribe. We're going to start the first fight of the card, and Vinicius Oliveira took on Ricky Simón. Yeah, man, I was on Ricky here. I thought he'd be able to get the takedowns. I knew we were in trouble early when he wasn't going after the wrestling. I don't think he started shooting until like the second round, or at least the end of the first. It was a little too late at that point, in my opinion. He was already Oliveira hadn't given him any respect on the feet, and I think all he had to worry about at that point was the takedowns, and Ricky had already taken a good bit of damage. So bad performance for Simón. He's lost a favorite 3 times in a row. Definitely disappointing. This guy had, he was looking really good at just a couple years ago, but definitely been a tough run. But hey, respect to Vinicius. I like this guy's style. Man, he is entertaining in there for sure. Hurt his leg at the end of the fight, but was still able to push through it. Good performance by him. Yeah, man, what can you say? I'm excited to see who Oliveira gets next. This was a tough test, and he passed with flying colors for sure. Next up, we had Saruya take on Carlos Hernandez. I picked Saruya, but I said, this is probably going to be closer than the line shows. And it was. Honestly, I wouldn't have hated a scorecard going towards Hernandez. So if you bet Hernandez at those big, almost plus 400, you did your job as a bettor. I didn't bet on this fight at all. But I did pick Saruya. I did think he probably edged it. Hernandez came on a little too late, but it was close. So, if you give it 2-1 Hernandez, I don't think that's a bad card. Next up, though, man, this one hurt. Andrei Arlovski took on Martin Buday. This played out exactly how I said it would. The ref was saying, just like I said he would be saying during this fight, come on, let's work, gentlemen. Both guys clinching. It was a slow fight. Andrei Arlovski forced everybody to fight boring. Buday is boring every fight. He sucks. I put more of the blame on Buday. You're fighting a 45-year-old with 60 fights, man. Come on, push the pace. But Arlovski has a way of doing that, and that's exactly how the fight played out. I and a lot of other people scored the fight for Arlovski. I think he landed the better shots. Honestly, what did Buday really like? I don't think he was landing as well. So, not even because of the strike numbers, which Arlovski did land more significant strikes, but just because I thought he genuinely, and even in the clinch, I thought he was doing more effective work there, whereas Buday was really just holding him. But, close fight, could have went 2-1 either side. I cashed the fight goes to decision, and missed out on that big plus money on Arlovski. Close call, definitely sucked. It would have been nice to get one more on Arlovski. He still made me a ton of money in my betting career, but couldn't give me another one. Next fight, though, I didn't have any action on this fight. Michelle Waterson took on Jillian Robertson. Not a whole lot to say about the fight, man. Roberson took her down. Wasn't able to get finished. Had a bunch of arm bars, but she did land some pretty vicious ground and pound. Waterson was pretty beat up at the end. Had some close subs. Waterson got pretty outclassed, man. Retired afterwards. Respect to her. I'm not going to lie, man. I was getting a little teary-eyed just watching that. It was, she's been in the UFC for a long time, and anytime they do those video packages, man, good luck. There's even Robbie Lawler was crying in there. So, respect. Even if she's been a tough run. She's been in the UFC for a long time. She fought a bunch of killers. So, wish her nothing but the best. Just wasn't her night. I picked Roberson. I didn't know it'd be a mauling that bad, but respect to her. It was a good performance. Speaking of maulings, Peyton Talbot versus Yanis Gamori. I picked Talbot. Not a big shocker. Huge favorite. Enormous favorite. I picked him by knockout, but I didn't think it was going to be 20 seconds in. Just absolutely steamrolled him. This kid's legit. Yeah, man, I don't know. Yanis couldn't even get fighting. First right hand that landed. Drops him. He almost thought about walking off, and then he goes in with some vicious ground and pound. Yanis was definitely out of there. It was a good stoppage. Time for maybe a step up. How old is Talbot again? He's young, 25. So, don't move him too fast, but let's get a little step up, man. Maybe one more right, in that 15 to 20. Who did he call out? Somebody in that area. I can't remember who he called out, but somebody in that 15-20 spot. But next up, we had Charles Jourdain versus Gene Silva. Man, you know, this one hurt as well. Not as bad as the Arlovski one, but I was on Jourdain. Yeah, thought he'd be able to, I mean, he was looking good early, but at the end of the first, Gene Silva clips him, hurts him, and honestly, that was the kind of the beginning of the end. At that point, Jourdain looked like he never fully recovered from that. I don't know how much of it was physical and how much of it was mental, because he definitely was biting on every feint after that landed. Maybe he was rocked already, but then he eats a vicious uppercut in the clinch. Gene Silva's, hey man, this for me was a big step up. It was a show me. I decided to fade the inexperience, the step up in competition. Gene Silva passed with flying colors, man. I was impressed. This dude, he might be, he might end up being pretty legitimate in this division. I mean, I knew he had skills, but I needed to see it at a level like this, and hey, he showed me that. Tough loss for Jourdain, first time being knocked out. But hey, respect to Silva. That was nice. Next up, man, this was a close fight, and honestly, I'll admit before I say this, first of all, I do think Cub Swanson won the fight, but this was like the right before the fights that I was interested in this fight, but I was at Buffalo Wild Wings, maybe some smoke breaks or beers. I was just half, I wasn't super locked in for this one. I had a bunch of action on the earlier fights, then a bunch of action after. So I was kind of just relaxing, casually viewing. But seemed to me, I edged it Cub Swanson 2-1 off damage. But Feely did, mix in the grappling pretty well. Had some, success on the feet as well. It was a good fight. Can't hate the decision if it seemed really close, but, seems like the community's kind of split on it as well. But good fight. Feely does get it done. I did pick him, but I don't know if I necessarily thought he won. No, I didn't have a bet on it, though. Next fight, another one I didn't have a bet on, but I did pick Joe Pyfer. But wow, definitely got it done a little earlier and easier than I thought he would. Just absolutely, Marc Andre just was completely out cold. I figured, Pyfer is just not somebody, if you're going to stand in front of him, it's just not going to probably work out well for you. But didn't have a bet, but, he was a 3-1 favorite, so he passed. He showed he should have been a 3-1 favorite. So then we moved on to the main card. We had Ian Gary taking on Michael Venom Page. This is a close fight, man. Honestly, I admit I am biased. Page has kind of won me over, and Gary, not even for all the reasons most people hate. I'm not a big fan. I'm just not a huge fan of the guy, but I'm not like some of these people who absolutely despise him. But I was rooting for Page, and hey, respect. Gary showed that he's willing to go to a plan B, plan C, and do whatever it takes to win, and that's how you become 15-0. So he wasn't having much success on the feet. Honestly, the speed that we talked about, the speed advantage on the feet for MVP, it was apparent from the beginning. He was honestly tuning Gary up on the feet, but made a big mistake. Got his kick caught in the first round. Gary takes his back and just kind of controls him there. If somebody locks in a good body triangle at that point, and MMA, man, especially a couple minutes, it's pretty easy to just hold a body triangle for a couple minutes and win a round. So yeah, you got guys like Aljo who have, I won't say made a career, but a big portion of it by doing that. You take the back, lock in a body triangle, you can hold somebody, and it's tough to not give them that round. So, he rightfully probably won that first round. The second two were very close. I thought Page won the second, and it was going 1-1 into the third. But, the third is really close, man. And again, Gary gets the back from the feet. There wasn't a serious threat of the sub, really. He was too high up on the back. But, he was able to just, and he kind of knew it. They both knew it. But, he was able to just secure the position. And, again, it's not good. Giving up your back, it's just historically, if a guy's on your back, he's winning the round. So it was a close round. If you scored it for MVP, it's tough to hate on that. I didn't have a bet on this fight. But I did think in the moment that Page won. I feel like on a second rewatch, you could give it to Gary, but he just didn't really do a lot of damage. And so it's really you're rating like the threat of the Runica choke in the first and third to win the rounds. It's a little tough, but still close decision. Don't hate the Gary getting the decision. Hey, did what he had to do, man. We'll see who MVP gets next. And Gary, I don't know. I'd be down for the Shavkat fight, man, because they got Leon Bilal. Who knows how that's gonna happen? Leon's not super active. If you do think he's gonna win, which most people do, maybe if Bilal wins, Leon's getting a rematch. Let's be honest. So, regardless, I know it seems like that's the fight he wants the least. He's like, oh yeah, Shavkat, but that should be for a belt. Usman and Colby now. It's like, nah, bro, come on. You skimped by you did what you had to do to get a boring decision, and Dana didn't seem super happy about it. Now you gotta, now it's like, all right, we're not gonna reward you with another fight like MVP. We're gonna give you, like, not saying that was an easy matchup by any means, but now it's like, all right, you beat Shavkat though, it's title shot. There's nothing else. You beat Shavkat, it's guaranteed title shot. The winner of that fight, guaranteed, fights their next fights for the belt, guaranteed. But we moved on to the next fight, man. Macy Chiasson taking on Mayra Silva. Everybody was telling me, oh, you got lucky cash in this. Dude, honestly, I was confident watching the fight. Obviously, in the first round, it was dicey, and both girls were landing shots, but Mayra was definitely winning the round. She won the round for sure, but you can't tell me Mayra wasn't slowing down in that second round, man. She was slowing down. I was confident, man. I was sitting there like Macy's going to win this round and then take over in the third. And I banked on that. I said that. I was like, Mayra's going to be dangerous early, but if we don't get armbarred on top, then we should win the second two rounds. I had the fight going the distance. The cut sucks. I really do think the dangerous part was over, and Macy was just going to beat her up against the cage. And then the third round was going to be a little slow because both girls used a lot of energy. I don't think the finishing potential was really there anymore. I think they were both too tired, honestly. I don't think anybody was going to gas out completely and get finished. So I probably would have cashed the fight goes to decision. But I do cash Macy. I do not think... you guys know. It was only like, last week or the week before that, I cashed like a lucky bet. And then I had unlucky in the Alex Perez fight. But, it goes both ways. So, but this one wasn't luck, man. Macy was going to win that fight. We move on now. Roman Dolidze taking on Anthony Smith. Yeah, man, I was on Anthony, and it just wasn't a good performance by him, man. Roman, shout out to him, did what he had to do. He was landing good shots. Anthony just, man, it's like it's not a 5-round fight, man. You got to go. But, hey, Dolidze was landing big shots. It wasn't the most entertaining fight, but, Roman got it done. Yeah, it sucked. But it's like the first time I've ever bet or pick Anthony Smith, and it was like his worst performance. But next fight, we had Diego Lopez on like 3 hours notice accepting Dan Ige. Dan Ige didn't even weigh in on Friday. I don't think I've ever seen that before, like ever for the UFC. So respect to both these guys, man. Diego Lopez first accepts the catch weight, then accepts the whole weight class up. And this is like hours before weigh-in. Just yes. Then they're like, oh, actually, Ortega was hoping you were going to say no. So now that you said yes, he doesn't want to fight anymore. So now Ige steps in on hours' notice. Totally different matchup, totally different style. And Lopez just like, yes. Like, hey, man, respect to him. But also respect to Ige to take on a scary dude like Lopez, who's not only really good and huge, but also, had a full training camp and also as a finisher could hurt you bad, and you begging to step in like he was. They showed him begging, like please give me this opportunity on hours notice. Like, that's crazy, man. So respect to both these guys. Some people were like, oh, the fight was boring. That fight wasn't boring, man. The grappling was fun. Both guys, like, how was that fight boring? I thought that honestly was up there with fight of the night. So I thought it was fun. There was some fun grappling exchanges. Overall, Lopez just a step ahead, landed some better shots on the feet. But it was dangerous. The third round, he kind of had to just survive. Ige definitely was coming on strong. So to take the fight on 3 hours notice and to be the one coming on strong in the third, like, definitely shows, like, Ige is no slouch, man. You can't count this guy out. But Lopez, you gotta just both these guys' stocks go up, man. I want to see Lopez get a big fight and get rewarded for saying yes 3 times during the week, and I want to see that they both asked to fight on the Sphere, and Dana said he'll do whatever they want to do, so he'll put them on the Sphere card. Some people are like, oh, I saw people like, oh, Dana, you get on the Sphere. Man, chill out. This dude has fun fights, and I know y'all want Lopez on the Sphere. He's like got all the hype right now, so. That's dope. Lopez, he's Brazilian. People think he's Mexican or like Hispanic. I hear that on breakdowns all the time, but it's because he trains with a lot of Alexa Grasso and a couple other Mexican fighters. So people think he's all like, nah, man, this dude's Brazilian. But we move on, man. Main event. What can you say? I was on Pereira. I bet him in the first fight. I bet him in this fight. I've been betting Pereira every one of his fights. Actually, I think at least 4 of his fights, his last 4. And man, Pereira just gets it done again easily. In the first round, chipping away with the calf kicks like I knew he would. Landing shots to the head as well with the left hook, the right hand. Barely got hit, honestly. Year landed a couple shots, but not much. Tried to grapple a little bit. Didn't really get anything going with that. I think probably just using more energy than it's worth. At the end of the first, drops him. Kind of gets saved by the bell. Second round starts and 13 seconds in, gets slept. Late stoppage. They should have stopped it after the kick. The ground and pound was vicious. Yuri was out for like 30 seconds. What's next for Alex Pereira, man? Hey, first off, Shama. Genuinely become one of my favorite fighters. I mean, I've loved him from the beginning because, look, you guys know I'm not the biggest Izzy guy. So, he had me from the beginning, but he's won me over inside and outside the cage. This dude is just dope. Literally, I could go on and on. But shout out to him. Stepping in on short notice again in a title fight. It gets another finish. Dude has never had he doesn't know what a boring fight is. How can you not like this guy? But what's next, man? I'd love to see John Jones. And if people are like, oh, he would get crushed, I'm like, y'all keep counting out Pereira, man. Like, John might, if there's one, Cyril Gane choked, man. That's another story for another day. But, I just think Alex is live against anybody in the world, man. This dude, you cannot count this guy out, man. So I think he could beat most of the heavyweights in the division. I think he knocks most of them out. He wouldn't even need to gain weight. Go in there at like 235, like he walks around before training camp, and go in there and knock these dudes out. Not a lot of these dudes are going to be able to just wrestle him. So, if not, Ankalaev, I guess, but Ankalaev has just done himself no favors. You guys know I was the biggest Ankalaev guy, saying he was the best in the world, but he's just done himself no favors, man. Inside and outside the cage, everything he says and does these past couple of years has just hurt himself. So, I don't know. I honestly think I'm gonna be getting some underdog money on Pereira by knockout. I think he knocks Ankalaev out, but I can't believe I'm saying that, man. I said for 5 years probably I thought Ankalaev was like the real best 205er in the world. But, yeah, I'm cool with that fight, even though there's not a lot of momentum behind Ankalaev. But I'd love to see the heavyweight move, too. Just please don't go down to middleweight ever again. Izzy, come up. I'm cool with that, too. If Izzy wins his fight, maybe he comes up and fights Alex. But Alex is going to stay busy, man. So... And Yuri, I hope he takes a long layoff. Take some time. That was a brutal KO. Who knows who's next? Maybe Jamal Hill. Yeah, really exciting. Watching either one of these guys fight. I love both of them. Huge fan. And fun card, honestly. Started slow, a lot of decisions, but hey, Alex showed these gloves. Maybe they're not completely. Maybe we're not screwed. But like the video. Let me know what bets you guys hit. How you guys did on your bets. Make sure you click subscribe. Appreciate you guys for watching every week. And we did go. Hopefully, I didn't do a recap video for the PFL because I don't always do that. But we did win like 4.6 units. We lost 1.6 or 1.4 on UFC. So hopefully you watched the PFL stuff. I was talking about it, so hopefully you went over there and watched it. I'm gonna start doing those on my channel more often. because I have been doing good on Bellator and PFL. So I'm trying to do some smaller shows. If you want to see that, one championship, whatever, let me know. Yeah, came out like plus 3.2 for the weekend. So yeah, if you guys want to see some smaller shows, let me know. Make sure you click the subscribe button, and I appreciate you guys. I will catch you guys Tuesday for my breakdown for next week. Till then, peace.